Your Excellency, with your permission, we will start off this ceremony with the national anthem and that of the East African anthem, guided by our studios. Studios, please. With all humility, Your Excellency, we request that we remain upstanding for a word of prayer, and at this juncture, Your Excellency, allow me to invite Madam Dorothy Kweyu to lead us in a word of prayer. Karibu, Madam.
Let us pray. Eternal and ever-living Father, we are here in your presence, thanking you with heartfelt gratitude for your faithfulness unto us. This is a ceremony we have waited for since morning, a ceremony to lift off our annual convention as members of the Kenya Editors Guild, their partners, their sponsors, and members without whom this ceremony would not have been. We want to thank you for our Deputy President, the Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, who, in spite of the challenges of his office, has made it to join us even at this late hour. We want to thank you, Lord, that there was so much patience, knowing that definitely our Deputy President will have some words of wisdom to impart upon us as we officially open our annual convention. Lord, the media landscape is delicate. We are living in times where we are confronted with new and upcoming media, which has changed everything that we knew, especially those of us who were in practice more than 40 years ago and are now working together with our grandchildren. The landscape has changed, and we are challenged with new technologies that we have to cope with, because we either swim or sink. We believe that we are going to swim because in the media we never say die. Dear Lord, I want to conclude this prayer because you knew everything that we are praying for as the media fraternity. And we want to thank you once again that you are among us and that you will send your Holy Spirit upon us to guide the Deputy President as he talks to us and to our members as they conclude the program. We ask this trusting and believing in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord.
Amen. Thank you. We may have our seats. The Chief Guest, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of our beloved nation, Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Technology and the Digital Economy, Honorable Dr. Margaret Ndungu, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of Nakuru City County, Honorable David Kones, all senior government officials present, the President of Kenya Editors Guild, Madam Zubeida Kananu, the President of the Africa Editors Forum, Mr. Churchill Otieno, the CEO Media Council of Kenya, Mr. David Omoyo, the representative of the Chinese Ambassador, Mr. Liu Zenyu, the past president of the Kenya Editors Guild, distinguished partners, the Kenya media sector, members of press present, Your Excellency, allow me to observe all protocols. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, welcome to this 7th Annual Editors Guild Conference, deemed Innovative Storytelling for Public Good, Building Trust and Driving Change in the Digital Age. To unpack this and to start us off, Your Excellency, allow me to kindly invite Madam Rosalia Omungo, which will make her remarks, and of course, thereafter, hand over the program to the President of KEG. Let's appreciate her as she's making her way. Karibu, Madam.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communications, Technology, and the Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Ndungu, the Principal Secretary, I'll skip that, the President of Kenya Editors Guild, Zubeida Kananu, the representative of the Chinese Ambassador to Kenya, Liu Zenyu, the Chief Executive Officer of Media Council, David Omoyo, the representative of the Director General of Communication Authority, Leo Boruet, the Vice President of Kenya Editors Guild, Ruth Nesoba, members of the Executive Council, members of the Kenya Editors Guild, members of staff, the President of the African Editors Forum, Churchill Otieno, the Senior Project Manager, Friedrich Naumann Foundation, Judy Kaberia, the Deputy Governor, Nakuru County, the past presidents, the Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Journalists, Eric Odor, the chairpersons of the associations of the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, distinguished partners, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And welcome to the 7th Annual Editors Convention. I will give a short introduction about the work of Kenya Editors Guild and milestones achieved so far. Kenya Editors Guild is the foremost professional association for editors in Kenya and exists to promote professionalism and excellence in journalism. The membership currently stands at 300, who include senior editors in television, print, academia, radio, and digital media. Kenya Editors Guild executes its work through a secretariat headed by myself and 5 staff who do the day-to-day running to ensure that programs are delivered to members, to our beneficiaries, the journalists, and the general public. Our work cuts across key thematic areas, including membership development, which allows KEG to develop its members. The KEG Annual Convention is part of this membership development, which offers opportunity for networking, giving back, introspection, and interrogation of industry issues by editors. In contributing to the development of the industry, we undertake training of the next generation of editors through the mentorship and media clinics. This is done in collaboration with the journalism schools. As editors, we engage with community members through town hall meetings, an initiative aimed at taking the media to the people. These meetings have helped to demystify the work of editors and have also allowed members of society who do not ordinarily make it to the editorial agenda to be heard. While our work as Media Association cuts across Kenya, we have established collaborations with other media associations in Kenya and in the region. Kenya Editors Guild is a co-convener of the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, a coalition of media actors bringing together journalists and other civil society organizations. The Kenya Media Sector Working Group convenes to deliberate on the operating environment of Kenya, of the media, guided by Articles 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37 of the Constitution of Kenya, speaking to freedoms of expression, media, access to information, and assembly, respectively. Your Excellency, the Guild is also part of the Eastern Africa Editors Society. Through the policy, research, and advocacy component, we have courageously addressed issues where duty called as we responded to emerging threats to journalism and the safety of our members in the line of duty. We have embraced the power of connection and are happy to welcome on board new collaborations and partners this year. Here now is a documentary of some of the issues that emerged in the year 2024 and how KEG continues to respond. Welcome to the Annual Editors Convention. I thank you.
Of the year. Welcome to our seventh. Colleagues, it's that time of the year. Welcome to our 7th annual convention. Welcome to Nakuru County, the home of Lake Nakuru National Park, Menengai Crater, and for the bird lovers, this is the host of thousands of flamingos. And guess what? We have a lot lined up for you. The game drive, sundowner, dinner at the park, tree planting. Oh, tell me you're ready. Karibu sana. We are excited to see you all. I know most of you have not seen each other since the last convention. Karibuni sana. Let's network, let's unwind, let's engage and learn from each other. Karibu sana to our convention.
Media disruption is a situation where media has realized that they are not the only people in town.
The biggest disruption right now is technology. So if you are not aligned with technology, then you are in for a greater shock.
That is the natural order of things. You might call it evolution.
It's now a common phrase, as you said, in media forums. You either adapt or die.
Kenya's media is one of the most diverse in Africa and continues to undergo significant transformation. Since the liberalization of the country's politics and economy in the early 1990s, the media has played a crucial role in improving governance and shaping public opinion. However, the media, which is predominantly privately owned, is facing serious disruptions which threaten its long-term sustainability. Challenges include a tightening political environment, deepening economic hardships, and fast-changing technological advancements. The Kenya Editors Guild has been calling for timely support for the media to enable it cope with these challenges.
We'll keep pushing for press freedom. You know, that's one of our key mandates as Kenya Editors Guild. And we call for the support from all our stakeholders to ensure that we, in this democratic country, you know, and space, that we are able to enjoy the rights guaranteed to us under the Constitution.
For 2 months, beginning June 2024, the government faced unprecedented youth-led demonstrations.
We had witnessed several cases of journalists being arrested. Those, many of them were injured as well during the Gen Z-led protests.
I was in the broadcast gallery when we had to stop to take another camera angle because there were live bullets and people are falling down. Protesters are falling down on camera. And you know that will be against our own regulations to show such a gory scene. Physical threats to journalists. We've seen them being beaten during the Gen Z protests to the extent that a journalist, a female journalist, was actually shot point blank on her legs by policemen who could clearly see that she's a journalist.
I had suffered a cut on my arm from the handcuffs. I had been slapped around, I had been punched around the ribs. I had a few bruises.
Veteran newspaper journalist and Kenya Editors Guild member Macharia Gaitho endured a harrowing abduction ordeal that unfolded in broad daylight.
Some two fellows came out from a car which was behind us, came and yanked open my door and tried to pull me out. And that is when I realized they had handcuffs, they were trying to handcuff me. That is when I realized they were policemen and they were trying to take me wherever they want to take me. They said it was mistaken identity, but I have never bought that. It could not be mistaken identity because I think anybody who is anybody in security circles in Kenya knows me. They have my number, and that is what they were using to track me.
Media associations condemned these attacks and rallied their voices, calling on the government to respect and uphold press freedom. The Kenya Media Sector Working Group decried police brutality and called for the enhanced safety, security and respect of journalists.
Kila mwanahabari ana haki ya kuangazia habari na kufahamisha mwananchi kile ambacho kinaendelea bila ubaguzi wowote.
Why are you blocking media from accessing the press gallery? Yes. That is unacceptable.
We were very loud and very clear on attacks on journalists. We did issue strong statements condemning attacks on journalists. Immediately we did the protest. We were able to do a meeting with the security officers, that is police, the senior police officers, just to find a way how well can journalists work in an environment that they are feeling safe during such events.
That was aimed directly at me.
Following the responsibility journalists have and the risks associated with the job, the welfare of journalists should be paramount and taken care of by media houses and government.
Welfare of journalists actually is at the core of our mandate. And we've been trying to engage media houses to see how they can address the pay problem in the media.
Government advertising spend should not be used for blackmail or to apply pressure on the media. Those are public funds, and like all other public funds, must be used in the most prudent, most cost-effective ways.
In pursuit of a solution, Kenya Editors Guild has reached out to Parliament to legislate the formation of a sustainability fund to support and strengthen the media.
So the Kenya Media Sector Working Group has been looking at a strategy to bring on board the Kenya Journalism Fund or the Journalism Trust Fund. So that fund is supposed to cushion media during times of difficulties, during times of disruption. So how we envision it is that this will be a pot where foundations, where people who support independent journalism can put in their money, and then the money can be used to help media that is struggling. The money can also be used to help journalists, independent journalists, freelancers, to continue to carry out the journalism that they are doing.
The main reason why the media is facing challenges in revenue generation is because of technological disruption. The media landscape has expanded and the emergence of digital media is eating into the revenue streams of traditional media.
We removed the barriers of access, so that we allowed many people to get into the media space as producers, as critical actors. We have not found a way around increasing the funding to the media work because good journalism costs money. and someone must be able to pay for it.
The traditional form of advertising is ceding ground to very new ways of advertising. The digital space is coming big as a disruptor, but I don't like looking at it that way. I look at it more like as an enabler, because the digital space has also allowed traditional media to expand its space. So I see digital as an opportunity, much as it has actually disrupted, especially when it comes to revenue.
One of the things that we aim to do and continue to do is building media resilience in the era of digital disruptions and media disruptions. And also we aim to continue building capacity for journalists and skilling our journalists, on how to navigate the challenges that we face as media in Kenya.
Technological advancement has been and remains the major catalyst in media transformation.
Technological advancement has really increased access to media. It has allowed media houses and content producers and journalists to be able to distribute their content through various channels and reach to many people. The consumers on the other end, who haven't been entirely educated about which content is which, they are consuming both, and sometimes they consume more from the unethical content producers or from the unlicensed, untrained content producers than the trained and the verified media houses. So on one side, we have the opportunities of it's cheaper, it's faster, better quality, a wider reach. And then now we have the competition from fakes and then too many people crowding of the market. And I think sometimes even confusing the consumer, because you have too much information. That ability to filter quality and all that is also a challenge on the consumer side.
Despite challenging traditional media in news gathering, digital media has also created opportunities for provision of tailor-made content with multiple distribution channels.
We disrupted the media industry. No one had heard of digital, like a purely digital platform entity that doesn't have anything traditional. So for Kenyans, if you've not seen anything on TV, if you've not read it on newspaper, if you've not heard it on radio, then it's not true. It's enabled us to stay on top because of we tap into all these innovative strategies, how we gather our news, how we consume. We have very few, what I'll put it as boots out there, who are going to look for news and source. We're doing it digitally. We've reduced the amount of money that we use as a newsroom. So the newsroom is very efficient. We have a huge team that works from home and it's managed remotely. So we don't spend a lot of money on, let's say, human resource or the kind of technology that we use. So that has enabled us to reduce the cost.
As media undergoes a digital revolution, professional journalists have a responsibility to champion the truth and navigate the digital landscape responsibly to maintain the trust of their audience.
It cuts across. If you're a journalist, you have to follow ethics. So it's not about whether in a traditional media or whether in a digital media house. You have to follow journalistic rules, how you source for information, how you package this information, what information exactly is it you're sharing out there.
The ethical principles of journalism and media work are the same. It's just that getting the people to follow the same ethics across all platforms, so that you do not have a journalist being ethical on a television and unethical on a YouTube channel and all that.
Traditional media must strongly embrace innovation to maintain competitiveness in news gathering and dissemination, capture younger audiences, and equip journalists with the necessary skills to boost its reporting on emerging realities like climate change.
If a journalist wants to report about how carbon dioxide is being emitted into the atmosphere and ends up doing a search through an AI platform, now it's upon the journalist to be able to do a search beyond the AI to be able to verify the information and get data that is specific for the area geographically that the journalist wants.
Climate change affects diverse sectors of the economy, and journalists need a deeper understanding of the subject to be able to offer in-depth reporting.
We need the journalists, the editors, and the entire media fraternity to be aware of the key issues that lead to climate change, and then when they are reporting, what are the standard procedures which are supposed to be used when, for example, the climate change issues are being handled by the different countries and different sectors to be able to reduce the impact on the population. So in essence, it is technical, it needs knowledge, and therefore we are trying to build the capacity of the editors and the reporters to be able to handle it in a way that the scientists and scientific community of climate change ends up also understanding it.
The Kenya Editors Guild has come up with a climate change manual, an idea conceived during the Africa Climate Week in Nairobi in 2023 to look into the science of climate change. This was done to help journalists better understand the science of climate change and improve their dissemination of information on the same to the masses through their everyday reporting.
The manual looks at the science of climate change because it's important for journalists to understand the science of climate change in order to report it better to the masses. Basically, all sectors affected by climate change are covered, and also the science behind key processes. So that was one of the achievements that Kenya Editors Guild did for this year. And we hope that going forward, the manual can be even more simplified into some sort of a handbook. The end goal for this is to have it incorporated within the development programs in the journalism schools.
Climate change is one of the key topics lined up at this year's convention as editors and media professionals aim for more constructive, solution-oriented reporting on climate change.
Why are we doing this? Is because as journalists, we would like to help our editors and also reporters and practitioners in the industry to be able to tell climate change in a way that is relatable to the audience that is listening to us. We will also have an opportunity to listen to the minister from Information and Communication Ministry as a host ministry for media or for the state. Would like to hear about some of the concerns that we have raised, the current media laws or proposals that are there that may look at eating away some of the freedoms that we have as the industry.
It's a cocktail of different things that we'll be doing, but mostly just unwinding and networking and engaging each other. Sometimes we're so busy, it's a long year, we've faced many challenges, so this is the opportunity that we get to just sit back and relax and enjoy. Well, it's not all doom and gloom. We are not going to relent. Together, we shall conquer. I now declare our convention officially open. Good afternoon. How are you? Great to see you. It feels so weird to see myself there and then I come and stand here. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Now you have a feel of what we go through as media, the challenges and the role we are playing in solution journalism. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. Thank you for your time. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communications, Technology, and the Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Ndung'u. Umeona hiyo maneno? The Principal Secretary, who was supposed to be here this afternoon, the Deputy Governor, Nakuru County, Honorable David Kones. Thank you so much for being here, DG, representing Susan Kihika, the Governor of Nakuru County, the representative of Zhong Jingpiang, High Commissioner of the People's Republic of China, Liu Zhengyu. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. We also have the representative of Neil Wigan, British High Commissioner, Madam Georgina Woodhouse-Hills, who is here with Jacques Delacroix. Did I pronounce it well? Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. The Chief Executive Officer of Media Council of Kenya, David Omoyo, the representative of, the Vice President, of Kenya Editors Guild, Ruth Nesoba, and members of the Executive Council of Kenya Editors Guild. Where are you? EC, please stand. let's see you. Thank you so much for making this convention a success. Thank you so much. The President of Africa Editors Forum, Churchill Otieno. Oh yes, Oga. And then we have Secretary General of Kenya Union of Journalists, Eric Odwor. Oh, also on that side. Thank you so much. Senior Project Manager, Frederick Norman Foundation, Judy Kaberia. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. Lydia Gashungi, Regional Advisor, Freedom of Expression and Safety of Journalists, UNESCO. Lydia, thank you so much for being here. Esteemed partners, distinguished members of Kenya Editors Guild and the Secretariat, ladies and gentlemen, and the media, thank you so much for covering us. You know, we are told media, journalism is a very lonely profession. Nobody tells our story. It had to take our initiative to tell our own story. So before I read my speech, kindly allow me to invite Churchill Otieno, the President of the Africa Editors Forum, to just say a word because of time. Churchill, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Margaret Ndungu, CS Information Communication and Digital Economy, the Deputy Governor, Nakuru County, and our host, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues led by my brother David Omoyo from the Media Council of Kenya. I know there's also some significant editors in the room. Allow me to pinpoint a few of them. Joe Ageo is hiding somewhere at the back of the room, and help me congratulate him on joining the World Editors Forum Board. And we have a veteran editor, Macharia Gaido, also hiding somewhere in the room. A well-known noisemaker and disruptor. And we do also have a veteran editor in the name of Eric Obino, whom we lost to politics, but he's still one of us. I bring greetings from Africa and a message from media stakeholders in Africa. And the African media fraternity is looking up to Kenya as they chase just one vision, which is how might Africa tell its own story. A number of policy proposals are coming from the Africa Editors Forum, and I'd like to leave you with only 3 of them. The first one is the whole question of how might we pay for journalism. And one idea that has come up that I think we must give significant attention as Kenya is the idea of journalism funds as a way of replacing the revenues that we are losing to shrinking advertising. And the proposal is that there are a number of ways in which we can create a basket that ensures that our society benefits from critical public interest journalism. And one of them is in making sure that a portion of monies that we recover from corruption is invested in investigative journalism. Just 2 months ago, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission did hand over to President Ruto a check of 5.5 billion Kenya shillings recovered from graft. If a portion of that money was invested in our journalism, a few more of our newsrooms would be able to deliver more accurately for our people. The second critical policy recommendation is in the whole question of capital flight through advertising in the big tech space, be it social media, be it AI technologies. And the question is, as these big tech companies take advantage of journalistic product and journalistic content to make revenues, how do we make sure that our laws gives them a chance to also contribute in sustaining our journalism. So the whole question of fair pricing and the whole question of competition laws to make sure that those who benefit from journalism also participate in making sure that they pay for that journalism is important. The last one is on the question of safety, a big issue in Africa. As we speak, there are journalists in jail in many African countries. The journalists who paid the ultimate price in many African countries. Kenya is being looked at as an example where such things don't happen. And we hope that in partnership with the government, we can get commitments to make sure this happens. I thank you, and I celebrate the Kindiki'S Guild on the 7th convention.
Thank you very much, Churchill. And maybe something he forgot to mention is that in 2026, we are hoping to bid for Kenya to host the 6th Africa Media Convention. And guess what? The Deputy President and the CS have committed to support us in making that possible. Asante sana, we deeply appreciate. Now allow me to invite the CEO of our regulator, MCK. Please say a word, just a word, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, Your Excellency, Professor Kindiki, your Deputy President, Dr. Margaret Nyambura, our CS, the Deputy Governor, the President here, and other leadership, senior leaders, Hamjambo. It's a pleasure to be here, Your Excellency. You will be surprised that this is a strange convention. Long before you came, we were complete, even with our own president. And when you arrived, the protocol is upside down that we have a deputy president who is senior than our president. Your Excellency, allow me to only stress one point on journalist safety and how we Kenyans relate to each other when we have serious conflicts. Many times when we have national issues, the Kenyans working in the media houses and the Kenyans working in government cannot agree. They fight on the streets. Sometimes they wake up from the same bed. One Kenyan goes to a police station to do his work. Another Kenyan goes to a media house to do his work. And they fight on the streets all day, and they go home the same day. I hope that as a country that has matured democratically, we can find a way to engage and disagree in principle without fighting each other. Your Excellency, I know you were in the Interior Ministry. We have our CS here and all the editors here. I hope that you will guide us. We have a proposal or two on your desk already about regular interactions between the media and government, respecting each other's space, but really agreeing that even when we disagree, there is a more decent way to do. That way then we stop being in the global media for all the wrong reasons, while the rest of Africa and the whole world is looking up to us. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Omoyo. And to deliver the speech of the High Commissioner of the People's Republic of China, please allow me to invite Liu Zhenyu.
Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable CS of ICT and Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Ndungu, President of the Kenya Editors Guild, Ms. Zubeida Kananu, Mr. David Omoyo, CEO of MXK, and also Mr. Churchill Otieno, the President of the African Editors Forum. Members of the Kenya Editors Guild, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a great honor to attend the 7th Annual Convention of the Kenya Editors Guild and speak with the voices shaping the Kenya's media landscape. On behalf of the Chinese Embassy and also His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Zhou Pingjian, I'd like to extend our warmest congratulations on the successful holding of this event and also the deep respect to the hardworking editors for your dedication to the media profession. Ambassador also asked me to convey his message of regret for not being able to join everyone today due to other obligations. Media is a cornerstone of modern society and also a force that shapes perceptions and narratives. The Kenya Editors Guild, as a key institution in the media sector, has made significant contributions to upholding the professional ethics and building understanding across borders. Your efforts not only provide the Kenyan people with objective, fair, and diverse information, but also create an essential platform for Africa to engage with the world. China and Kenya enjoy a long-standing friendship rooted in mutual respect and shared aspirations. In recent years, our cooperation across various fields have deepened, yielding fruitful results, from infrastructure development to agricultural progress, from educational and cultural exchanges to technological innovation. The achievements of China-Kenya collaboration are evident and have benefited many Kenyan people and Chinese people. This success owes much to the efforts of the media professionals. Through your reports, the spirit of China-Kenya collaboration and broader China-Africa friendship come alive, fostering greater understanding and appreciation among our people. In this era of rapid digital transformation, the role of media is more important than ever. Digital transformation has revolutionized how we consume and share information, but it has also brought the risks of misinformation and disinformation. This places greater responsibility on media professionals to uphold the principles of truth, objectivity, and integrity. We believe that the Kenya Editors Guild will continue to lead by example, ensuring that Kenya journalism remains a beacon of credibility and innovation. The Chinese embassy in Kenya is willing to deepen exchanges and cooperation with Kenyan media professionals, strengthening mutual learning between the Chinese and African media. We will continue to offer opportunities in training and exchanges for Kenyan editors and reporters and explore new avenues for collaboration in the digital age. In closing, I sincerely wish the Kenya Editors Guild's continued growth and success as a pillar of Kenya and Africa's media industry. I also hope that all media professionals present here will use your wisdom and talents to bring more insightful and impactful reporting on China and China-Kenya relations in the future. Let's continue to strengthen the bridge of understanding, tell stories of hope and achievement, and inspire future generations with the possibilities of what we can achieve together. I wish you all good health and great success in your work. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. And now, Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Madam CS, DG, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome you to the 7th Annual Editors Convention, a gathering that brings together the top leadership in the media industry to reflect, strategize, and recommit to the noble mission of journalism. Today, we are privileged to have Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya with us. Your presence, sir, underscores the shared role of the government and the media in meeting the goals of societal development, safeguarding of democracy, and serving the public good. As we convene here, the state of media in Kenya reflects a complex mix of progress, challenges, and opportunities. The Kenyan media continues to stand firm as a pillar of democracy, celebrated for its resilience and vibrancy. Our journalists uncover stories that matter, giving a voice to the voiceless and holding power to account. Innovations in digital platforms have expanded our reach, enabling us to connect with diverse audiences locally and globally. This adaptability reaffirms our place as a dynamic force in the modern information landscape. Yet, we cannot ignore the storm clouds that are hovering over our industry today. Journalists in Kenya have constantly faced serious threats, both online and offline. The year 2024 saw increased harassment, trolling, and cyberbullying targeting media professionals, with female journalists bearing the biggest brunt of this abuse. The Gen Z protest earlier this year served as a stark reminder of the risks journalists take to serve the public. Many of our colleagues were shot, injured, harassed, and humiliated by the police.
One of them was Catherine Wanjiri Karaoke, who was shot 3 times in point-blank range for the apparent crime of simply being on the streets to cover a legitimate news story. Equipment such as cameras and other work tools were also destroyed, as depicted in the documentary you just watched. The documentary served as a powerful reminder of the untold story of suffering endured by journalists, the unsung heroes of democracy. Ironically, the government, which is duty-bound to protect its people, has remained eerily silent. This silence, sir, is deafening. We extend our deepest appreciation to our media partners, CGTN, for collaborating with us in the production of this documentary, as well as their support in training and internship programs. We also thank the Chinese Embassy for facilitating exchange programs and networks that have equipped us with valuable knowledge on emerging technologies. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, economically, our industry continues to grapple with serious financial challenges occasioned by shrinking advertising revenues, evolving consumption habits, unpaid government bills, and restrictive policies on government advertising. These challenges have led to layoffs, loss of talent, and wage delays. Media houses are struggling to stay afloat, leaving those who remain overburdened and underpaid. The irony is that a government emphasizing on job creation has played a role in hundreds of journalists losing their jobs. Pay delays and lack of insurance have left many journalists vulnerable, with some experiencing mental health challenges and even contemplating extreme measures, including attempted suicides. Tragically, stress and depression have claimed the lives of several journalists. At this juncture, please, allow me to invite us all to stand for a moment of silence in honor of colleagues we've lost this year. And you can see they're here. I'll mention them by name. Paul Muhoho, our oldest court reporter who passed on last night here in Nakuru County. Peter Okongo, a veteran journalist and a member of Kenya Editors Guild, who is being laid to rest today, alongside other esteemed members of our community, Mutegi Njau, Washington Akumu, Rita Tinina, Njambi Koikai, Dickens Owesonga, Masi Mawia, Michael Oyer, Fatma Rajab, Shadrach Miti, and Sam Makenda. We honor them and celebrate them for their dedication to journalism, even in the face of personal and professional struggles. While the reasons for their passing vary, their loss is deeply felt across the media fraternity. May their contributions continue to inspire us as we move forward. Amen. Thank you very much. You may take your seats. Honorable Deputy President, ladies and gentlemen, institutional challenges compound these challenges, or shortcomings compound these challenges. For the 4th consecutive year, the Media Council of Kenya has been operating without a board, while budget cuts limit its ability to effectively oversee the industry. Similarly, the Media Complaints Commission has been hamstrung by what we see as state interference. In addition, there is an enduring duplicity of content regulation between the Media Council of Kenya and the Communications Authority, despite the clear constitutional provisions of the roles these institutions should play. These factors and many more have continued to undermine media regulation in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, despite these challenges, we are not without hope. The media holds unparalleled potential to inform, educate, and inspire action on issues that matter most: the economy and cost of living, climate change, youth unemployment, corruption, and bad governance. By embracing technology, investing in fact-checking capabilities, and strengthening capacity-building initiatives, we can restore media credibility and trust and elevate our profession to even greater heights. Today, we will be presenting to you, Honorable Deputy President, the Kenya Editors Guild Manual on Climate Change Reporting, which will soon be incorporated in the training programs of various academic institutions. We convey our gratitude to GIZ for collaborating with us on this initiative. We are also finalizing a handbook on biotechnology in partnership with Africa Agricultural Technology Foundation, AATF. In light of these challenges and opportunities, we wish to make the following call. Honorable Deputy President, the government has a critical role to play in enabling a thriving media environment. We urge your administration to ensure justice and safety for journalists. This includes holding accountable those who have attacked or harassed journalists, whether during the protest, online, or in the normal course of their duties. In this regard, we urge the government to recommit itself to the protection of media workers as they perform their constitutionally mandated duties. 2, withdraw restrictive advertising directives. We urge the government to take steps to reverse the recent directives by the Ministry of ICT on centralized government advertising, which unfairly disadvantages certain media houses. Such a move would foster a level playing field to ensure all media outlets have equitable access to advertising revenue. 3, support media sustainability. We strongly urge the government to implement the recommendations of the ICT and Digital Economy Sector Working Group, including the establishment of a Media Sustainability and Innovation Fund. 4, establish a national media center. We call on the government to collaborate with the media industry to create a vibrant training and innovation hub. This will play a key role in increasing the capacity of the industry in general, as well as bridging the current communication gap between the government and the media. 5, provide tax relief. Offer tax holidays or similar financial incentives to media houses that are currently facing financial challenges. This will be a strong affirmation of the government's belief in the role of media in the sustenance of democracy and national development. 6, strengthen regulatory bodies, expedite the appointment of a board of the Media Council of Kenya, and empower the Media Complaints Commission to operate at its full capacity. This includes an end-to-end regulatory overlaps between the Communications Authority and the Media Council of Kenya. In particular, it is worth noting that Communications Authority has regularly dabbed in media content regulation, despite several affirmations by the courts that this mandate vests in MCK. The government should move with speed to resolve this duplicity to avoid any further confusion. Finally, the government should actively fund and strengthen the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, to enable it to effectively play its role as a public broadcaster. The government of Kenya should borrow a leaf from what is happening in other developed countries, such as China. As media practitioners, we must also move with speed to address our internal challenges. We must invest in training programs that bridge the gap between academic competence and professional practice, particularly in the context of emerging technologies. 2, strengthen in-house leadership to foster innovation, build trust with audiences, and drive the industry forward. Uphold ethical standards and professionalism to maintain credibility, and stand firm against the external pressures that compromise media freedom, ensuring we serve society without fear or favor. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's convention reminds us of the immense power of storytelling to drive societal transformation. By embracing innovation and upholding the highest standards of professionalism, we as the media can rebuild public trust and reaffirm our role as the watchdog of democracy. The time for action is now. Let us have open, honest, and forward-thinking conversations about the future of our profession. I extend my deepest gratitude to all our partners and supporters, as well as the KEG Council, Secretariat, the Planning Committee, and everyone who took part in organizing this event, and for our distinguished guests for gracing it. Let us remain steadfast in our commitment to truth, courage, and integrity. The Kenyan media story is far from over, and together we can ensure it remains a story of resilience, innovation, and impact for many generations to come. Honorable Deputy President, I hope you brought your safari boots because I know time still allows, and your binoculars, because we want to go to the park to interact with the animals there. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this afternoon and according me your time. Allow me now to invite the Deputy Governor of Nakuru County to welcome us officially to Nakuru County. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi tafadhali.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, our CS, Dr. Margaret Nyambura, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to write on the protocols already established. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once more. Yeah, mine is only to welcome you on behalf of Our Excellency, the Governor of Nakuru County, to our county of unlimited opportunities. I want to welcome you, Your Excellency. The Governor is not around, and she asked me to come here so that I can welcome you and everybody who is inside this room today. I want you to feel more welcome, and again, before you leave Nakuru County, please, you make sure that you visit various places like Lake Nakuru. If you go there, you will feel like staying there for the whole week. Also make a visit in Menengai Crater, one of our historical area where you also feel, you look at the area, it is so fantastic. See the geothermal production there. And also Naivasha, Lake Naivasha, the landscape, the scenery. Please go outside the town and also spend some few shillings here and there in the hotels and also buy some few things. Now, so allow me, Your Excellency, to read the speech of Our Excellency Governor Nakuru County because she was supposed to be here to address you. So it is my great pleasure to join you, the Kenya Editors Guild, today as you congregate here in Nakuru City to deliberate on issues not only affecting your profession, but the cumulative impact of your work on the country and its people. I take the earliest opportunity to acknowledge the decision by the Kenya Editors Guild to choose Nakuru City as the venue for your conference. Special thanks to all stakeholders who made it possible for this annual coming together of men and women of the pen. Even though advancements in technology are slowly taking away the inherent semantics behind that praise, I welcome you all to Nakuru City. You all sample its hospitality and the attractions in our city and the county of unlimited opportunities. Asked about what he feared most, former British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan said, "Events, boy, events." By events, he was referring to the uncanny ability of events to disrupt political, social, and economic relations in a country, between nations, and ultimately the entire world. Your profession sits at the center of these events, telling stories about these events on the various platforms provided by your media houses and dictated by technology. Again, these events could be outcomes of a people plan A or plan B. The tragedy here as initiated by legendary American heavyweight boxer Mike Tyson, could take a totally different direction and dimension. For Tyson said, everybody has a plan A and B until he is punched in the mouth. At the turn of events, whether sticking to plan A or B, and even after one is punched in the mouth, you journalists play a central role in determining the direction of the outcome of these events. We in Nakuru County are good friends of those who tell stories because we believe that storytelling is as old as human race and precedes recorded history. We believe that storytelling is a powerful tool for inspiring action and change and influencing thought leaders and decision makers who have been granted opportunity by the electorate to govern and lead. We have our doors open because we believe that by telling stories of what we are doing, the services we are providing and the projects we are implementing, the people of Nakuru will know and join us in taking this county down the path of progress consequently. We respect and support your rights as the media, the space that you hold in society, and your contribution to the betterment of our county and country at large. I agree with those who have argued, and rightly so, that the media is the mirror of modern society, that the media, a body of storytelling professionals, is equipped with specialized creative and technical skills with which they can turn the compelling stories into well-produced and high-quality content that captures people's interest and imagination. In essence, what are these compelling stories? To us, the compelling stories are those of needy children from poor families being awarded bursaries to access quality education, which at the end changes their lives. Compelling stories are those narrating the happiness of people of Wesekes in Subukia or Retinet in Kuresoi South, after we have constructed, equipped, and opened a health center at a stone throw distance. We take compelling stories as narrations of how our farmers' income has increased, giving them the economic power to educate their children, choose the meals they place on the table in their houses, and lifestyles arising from our interventions in agriculture. Equally, we define as compelling stories tales about the kilometers of road we have constructed and traveled, the number of people in settlements we have assisted to get title deeds, the happiness of our market women when we constructed ultra-modern markets for them, the gratification of our youth when we create jobs for them by attracting investors to Nakuru County and through ICT hubs, the appreciation of our aging generation when we construct homes and offer them care, the triumph of new technologies and services in our level 4 and level 5 hospitals, and the smiling faces of our children at ECTE centers, enjoying a whole meal under the UCI program. I can go on and on. The list is endless. These are the compelling stories we as the county government of Nakuru expect professional storytellers to use their creativity and skills to put out there. The themes of this conference, innovative storytelling for public goods, building trust and driving change in the digital age, says it all. The way a story is told, a message is delivered, or a narrative is navigated has changed dramatically over the last few years. Stories are told through video games, interactive books, and social media. Stories are told on sorts of different platforms and through all sorts of different devices. They are immersive, letting the user interact with the story and letting the user enter the story and shape it themselves. Therein, however, lies the danger and the most poignant challenge that we face at the moment, building trust. building trust in the digital age is not just necessity. How do you build trust in this digital age? We hold that transparency, social proof, authentic content, ethical practices, community engagement, continuous improvement, veracity, and evident reporting will go a long way to build trust of the public in storytelling in this digital age. The society is wiser, and with technology, many are distortions of reality that are being fed to the public. And it's time for the storytellers to stand up and be counted by building trust, not only with the governments, but with the people they write for. In conclusion, technology has had a profound impact on storytelling. It has revitalized the accessibility, distribution, and engagement of stories. I expect that this conference will come up with the outcomes that will immensely contribute towards storytelling for the public good. Thank you, Her Excellency Susan Kihika, EGH, Governor, Nakuru County.
Thank you very much, DG. Yesterday, these editors here played part in increasing the forest cover at Menengai Crater. Forest, yes. Because our first activity was what? Tree planting. Yeah? Did you get that message? Yeah? Yeah? So that was our first activity. Tonight we are going to Lake Nakuru National Park where we'll have our dinner. So a lot is lined up today. Kindly now allow me to invite Madam CS to share her remarks and then invite the Honorable Deputy President. Thank you very much.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Governor, Nakuru County, represented by the Deputy Governor, the Chief Executive Officer, Media Council of Kenya, the President of the African Editors Forum, the President of Kenya Editors Guild, the Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Editors Guild, the representative of the Government of China and UK, the Executive Committee, other invited guests, editors, journalists, distinguished delegates. Good afternoon. It's a real honor to be here. I know I have been a cabinet secretary, this is my 4th year, but you have not had a chance to interact. Oh, 4th month, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to interacting with you on the 13th of December. We have planned this with the Media Council of Kenya, and in this interaction, we will be able to review the 8 issues that the President has raised. They are pertinent issues. We must collaborate. We must promote the media. We must promote journalists. Myself, I did information science, and most of the editors from that field, so basically understand the field very well. And I really look forward to collaborating with you. In the interest of time, media personalities, our role as a government to ensure that we create that enablement in this digital era. Collaboration is the only way that will help us create the regulatory framework that will ensure that we are all thriving in this digital space. We must ensure that our young children, they are reading and accessing the right content. And again, we must do this if we are responsible, we are ethical, we are ensuring that we use these technologies. Artificial intelligence is very critical, but use of it can lead to different outcomes. We would want the positive outcome to promote socio-economic development. And with that, I would want to take now these opportunities to ask you to be upstanding and welcome the Deputy President to give his speech. Thank you.
you, Waziri. I request that we sit down, please. Good evening. I'm sorry for disrupting your excursion. I will see how to mitigate and not really pay for it, but something in between. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. My name is Kithure Kindiki. I'm the Deputy President of the Republic, and thank you for clarifying, Madam President. Please, that there is no tension between the Deputy President of the Republic and the President of the Guild. The President remains President, isn't it? So all protocols observed. I'm delighted to officiate this convention, the seventh of this kind. This conference, or this convention, brings together media, representatives of government like myself, academia, civil society, technology companies, and all of us are here to define the future landscape of journalism in our nation. This rich mix of participants here today is an important ingredient in offering a holistic approach to the issues of discussion during this convention. The media is a powerful instrument for advocacy and education of the masses. With its tentacles in almost every homestead, the media shapes not only the opinions but also the beliefs of citizens. Through its print, audio, and visual platforms, the media remains a leading source of information for the masses. With the advent of vernacular radio and television stations, Kenyans of all walks of life can now access critical information at the comfort of their homes and in their languages. We have moved from the one television, one radio station era to an era of a myriad of choices, including a new world of social media and artificial intelligence. These changes have had as big an impact on the media sector as it has had on all other segments of our society. Today, media houses are struggling to compete with non-traditional peers where integrity and standards cannot be assured. The transition to digital platforms has meant a reorientation and a recalibration, oftentimes at great cost. It is not lost on all of us that the evolution of a technologically driven world order now has the media fraternity as one of its many victims, if not casualty. The advent of the internet and the rapid growth of digital technology have revolutionized how we consume information and entertainment. It is therefore imperative that we all adapt or perish. The need for media actors to innovate is now. You must embrace digital platforms, diversify your content, and build on collaborations and partnerships outside the beaten path. Ladies and gentlemen, the relationship between government and the media has often been strained and marked by distrust, tension, and adversarial interactions. The media has been cited for advancing political and partisan interests sometimes at the expense of its core mandate of being the public watchdog. It has been blamed, maybe fairly, maybe unfairly, for the deterioration of public values through the glorification of immorality, vanity, and morbidity in pursuit in pursuit of the almighty shilling. On the other hand, government has been accused of frustrating the media due to its publicization and profiling of issues in society. Government has been accused of seeking to control coverage through coercion and intimidation. Government has been accused of failing to protect media freedom and the personal safety of journalists. We must bridge this divide and build a working partnership grounded on accountability and responsibility. Both the media and government are charged with great responsibility, great power, great influence. And whoever is entrusted with great power and great influence must, and I say must, be subjected to great accountability. To whom much is given, much is required. It is not in doubt, perhaps from where I stand, that government appreciates the role of the media as a watchdog in society and will continue to support the sector to effectively perform its role of shaping public discourse. Through educating the public on current affairs, exposing malpractices, and holding government agencies and officials to account, the media contributes to the safeguarding of the tenets of our national values and principles of governance, which are espoused in Article 10 of our Constitution. However, the exercise of media freedom as guaranteed by the Constitution should be of necessity be tempered with a sense of responsibility, as I have said, and accountability. It is more common today to find single perspectives barely tempered by a right of reply about perceived government action or inaction. Indeed, it is not uncommon to see small insert apologies, often a few days after a sensational story has been published, seeking to apologize and clarify positions, and only after a victim has called the media out for its misreporting, by which time the credibility of the victim is in shambles. Journalists must uphold a high level of professionalism that is founded on professional standards. I am aware that the Kenya Editors Guild, as the professional association for editors in Kenya, is dedicated to promoting media professionalism and credibility. I call on you to do more. The profession is expected to candidly critique and point out areas where the government can do better. As you do so, it is equally important to spotlight the reforms, initiatives, programs that occasionally government implements, sometimes without a lot of fanfare, to improve the lives of Kenyans. In other words, paint a comprehensive picture for the people of Kenya, both the good and what you think could be done better. Government does not ask to be favored. We do not request to be favored. No, we ask and indeed expect impartiality in your reporting, where you present all the facts and cover all sides of a story. Fair reporting, in a sense, should mean not reporting what cannot be verified. Reporting must not be aimed at tarnishing people or institutions' reputations. Just a few reflections. We have been asking ourselves, for example, those of us who are privileged to serve in government at this time, could, for example, the new healthcare system, the Taifa Care, could it provide a silver lining, if not for any other reason, in its ability to perform data analytics for the first time, so that we can identify and plan for the most common diseases affecting Kenyans today. isn't the affordable housing program inadvertently providing avenues for our young TVET students to undertake industrial training and for everyday masons, welders, and carpenters to become experiential teachers to these young minds? What is really so different about the new university funding model from the old help application process that required a letter from the chief? And so on and so forth. And what we are saying here is that government, like any other human endeavor, is not perfect. But I'm sure there are things, there are programs, there are policies, there are initiatives that are for the interest of our country and that promote the public interest. And I think it is only fair, even as corrective reporting is done on the imperfections of some of the programs, it is only fair that those highlights of what is working also find their space in your reporting. I saw yesterday, I think, His Excellency the President launched the, it's not really launching, but just give the status of where we are on enhancing transparency in the e-citizen endeavor. And he did report how government revenue that hitherto used to be pilfered, used to be mismanaged, as exponentially increased because of the transparency measures that have been put in place through the digitization of government services. Tremendous leaps and tremendous savings have been done. Money which ordinarily would be stolen, pilfered, and misappropriated by people who are using manual methods of collection. In the fight against corruption, which I think remains one of the most consequential fights that this country must sustain to be able to survive in the long run, for the country to survive in the long run. I would have thought that, for example, the measures taken by the government to increase transparency and track the money that the government collects from the people of Kenya is a bold step towards enhancing transparency and improving the fight against corruption. Because that way, the next thing now to be asked, or we should be asking, is how that money is being used for the benefit of the people of Kenya. Therefore, I call upon media to ensure factual reporting built on credibility and concrete conceptualization of issues. We should be devoid of biases and interests that often trigger sensational communication. It is time we upscale to fact-based, accountable, and honest reporting. I urge the fraternity to upscale its efforts in the prevention and fight against corruption, as you've said yourselves, not only within government, but also within private sector and all sectors, including your own sector. Because corruption is a national cancer. It permeates very many sectors, and that fight, I think we should all gang up together in solidarity and save our country from the cancer of corrupt practices. And therefore, we need to stand in different places to see the issues properly. And I therefore urge you to embrace a multifaceted lens in reporting so that you are the victim, the perpetrator, you are the arbitrator, and you are the spectator before you make a conclusion. So that you know, as media actors, you frame the public mind properly. I invite the Editors Guild to remain available and to receive support of any kind from government in the things that we do, the regulatory framework, in the things we do, in the policy framework. Because as I've said, like any human endeavor, government as a human enterprise and as a human endeavor is not perfect, because It keeps on improving and learning all the time. So I want to encourage you to avail yourselves for consultations, collaboration, and constructive criticisms. And I like what the speakers who spoke here earlier on, the President, the CEO, and of the Media Council, and the President of the Forum. There are so many presidents around. So, of the African Forum, Oga, we hope we can collaborate and see how we learn from each other, improve on what is available, and make sure that we build our country. I like what has been said about, one, we don't need to agree. It's not even in the interest of the country that all of us agree. We need alternative voices. We need a plurality of opinion and voices. What we must guard against is disagreeing in a manner that jeopardizes our broad national interest. We should not, for example, disagree violently and use violence on each other. Therefore, Madam President, I know you, it's fine, you don't have to stand. I know it is, I know that clip you showed here was deliberately prepared. And the message is home. The message is home. And I better say no more, because other than the current role, you know, I am the immediate security minister of the country. So some of the things you're saying, I'm familiar with them. You are familiar with them. Maybe because we were in different positions and roles, I could have a perspective that you may not have. But I also admit there are perspectives from your side that we could not have as government. So the thin balance, therefore, of how we articulate our differences of opinion and different positions in the transaction of our national life, whether politics, business, professions, we must make sure that in those transactions we don't hurt our national interests, especially the existential, foundational circumstances that assure the long-term sustainability of our country. Now, you know, the balances between freedom of expression, assembly, picketing, media freedom, access to information, on the one hand, heavy protections, quite elaborate protections in our Bill of Rights. How do we balance that with public safety and make sure that the constitutional order is not overturned by extreme expression of democratic ideals? And those balances are in the Constitution. We don't have to go very far. We'll find them there. And only hold each other to account when either of us is on the fringes of those balances. That is my plea. You know, our friends in the US had a democratic stress test like the one we had in June in this country. I would not call them protests, I would call them a democratic stress test. Because the tensions between the liberties of the citizen, which are immutable and entrenched, and the survival of our constitutional institutions, that delicate balance is something we will have to navigate going forward. I don't want to raise issues which are not for this forum. But I've been wondering, as a citizen of Kenya and as a leader a member of this administration, we are guaranteed our freedoms in very absolute ways, sure. But I thought the same constitution has also asked us to preserve the nation and preserve the constitutional order and its institutions. I thought so. I thought so. If that be the case, for example, if, for example, through popular consensus, and I'm saying this is hypothetical, it did not happen, but if by popular consensus we generate adequate public consensus to do away with some of the institutions of governance completely, and we can go all the way into doing a referendum to validate it, because that is the absolute way of democratic expression. We decide, the people of Kenya are sovereign, it is true. They exercise their sovereignty either directly or indirectly, directly through the organs that are established in the constitution like parliament, legislature, executive, but directly through elections and referenda. If we all decide, for example, through a popular consensus that we build public consensus that we don't need some of the institutions that are established as the Constitution. It is popular, it is in the public interest, but I don't know whether it is in the national interest, for example, hypothetically, to abolish the judiciary. Because you can do that in a referendum. You can do that in the referendum. The people have decided we just need 2 arms of government, for example. We don't need an arm of government that deals with disputes between citizens and among each other, or between citizens and those who are responsible for running government institutions. So it's food for thought, and I know, I believe, and I really hope I'll be invited again, because these are things I would want us to spend a bit of time informally discussing. Informally. It costs nothing to exchange views. And you don't have to take my views. I also don't have to take all your views. Yeah? But because this is a formal process, I will leave it there and say the following things that are relevant as I close to this forum and the issues that have been raised, including the clip that was showed carefully and strategically. First, my sister here, our cabinet secretary for ICT, is one of your own. Is one of your own. She is, yes, a member of government and so forth, but professionally, she's one of your own. I am a member of government, but professionally, I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I am a member of the legal profession. Okay? That is a lifelong badge of honor we all carry, you know? So I see no reason why we should not have avenues for talking to each other. I see no reason. I just gave Margaret as an example. She's a professional from your own circles. In the office, all the offices, including the office of the president, the office of the deputy president, some of you people are there. I'm seeing one seated in front of me who works in my office. Francis is known to many of you here. So I don't see why, for example, even outside the formal avenues, why some things should bother us so much, because the minister, for example, being one of you, is somebody who can reach using your professional channels and maybe bring to her attention some of the things that she could have either forgotten or perhaps not appropriately balanced with other things as she runs that ministry. Therefore, we agree with you fully on the strengthening of KBC as a public broadcaster. we equally agree with you fully and unequivocally on the need for us as a country governed by the rule of law and a constitutional order. We should respect court orders and what the courts have said about the relationship between the Media Council of Kenya and the Communications Authority. There should be no doubt or debate because we are a country run by the rule of law. There could be interpretational issues and so forth, but that is a discussion we can have. But I think there is nothing to negotiate around that space. On the safety of journalists, we agree. For the reasons which I have said in my formal remarks, we agree that the safety of journalists is critical. We believe in the freedom of the media. We endeavor to protect it. Our Constitution has guaranteed these freedoms. And you expect it in a society, occasionally there will be infractions. The problem is when we do not address those infractions as we are required. And therefore, I want to commit for the journalist who was hurt here in this city, that is quite unfortunate. And normally when an event like that happens, there are two ways of dealing with it. One is through the internal police, internal affairs police unit, but also more objectively through the IPOA, the Independent Police Oversight Authority. Now we've had a leadership transition in the last 3 months. We have a new IPOA coming on board, I think any time from now. They'll be sworn in. Parliament has approved the names. So, and the other one had, I think, given an exit report. So these things happened at a time when there was a leadership transition. So I will be following up on where we are, and I want to undertake, Madam President and the rest of the colleagues here, that we are going to follow up to ensure justice is done and establish who did this and bring that person to account. Because as I said, the balances are clear. The Constitution allows the use of firearms by persons allowed by law to protect 99% of law-abiding citizens against potentially 1% who want to hurt the rest. The law allows. But the same law does not permit a police officer or an official of the security forces to use their firearms to hurt people outside the Constitution and outside the law. And therefore, I want to undertake that we will follow through, especially now with the new IPOA commission, to make sure that full justice is served. On the question of the board at the Media Council of Kenya, I am told in the next 2-3 weeks, the minister has told me we are finalizing the completion of population of that board so that we don't have governance gaps in the industry. The same applies to the Media Complaints Commission. I have noted and I'll follow up. On the issue of advertising, I totally agree with you that advertising budget should not be constrained because of differences on the kind of publicity government is getting. And even when government is aggrieved by bad reporting, because there are also infractions from your side once in a while, just the same way there could be infractions from those of us who are in the government side. So we will be starting a conversation on how we discuss among government. I know some of it is ongoing, especially on the question of pending bills, which have really made some of the media houses to really have to struggle for services they have rendered. But as you're aware, pending bills are a general challenge in our economy. But on this one, I followed up before I came here, and I can commit that we are doing all we can to clear in its entirety the portfolio of the pending bills in the media industry, to make sure that government doesn't paralyze the operations of media outlets. There is also the issue of advertising and other things, and then restrictive advertising, and also the need for a media center and tax reliefs. We have captured that. So I would propose that both using the formal and informal channels, we can be able to, I've already given you already, in my office, Francis works for Government of Kenya and he's with me all the time. So if we wait for the normal government procedures for matters that are urgent to be brought to my office, it may take time. But if you reach out to Francis, there's nothing wrong with that. We have this, inform the Deputy President, we have this issue. It's a faster way. The minister here is one of your own. You can reach out to her, even directly. And I think for me, that's the best way to handle some of these things. And it doesn't compromise anything. We still are who we are, and we respect each other's space. Then, as I end, you have raised two very important things, Madam President and the other speakers. I have spoken to one of them, and that is the need to fight corruption and the need for accountability by government to make sure that public resources are not stolen, they are not diverted, and they don't benefit private people, because that's unlawful and unconstitutional. That's one of them. You did hear the President on the State of the Nation address. He made it very clear that we must heavy lift, the country must heavy lift on the fight against corruption. We cannot sustain this country like this anymore. Something has to give way. The same way we've made difficult economic decisions in the economy, and that's why there has been a bit of unease, because some of these decisions have their side effects, especially at the initial stages. We must also heavy lift on the fight against corruption, using the hard ways, like the ones I said, jailing people and so forth. But also I also mentioned about soft ways. How, for example, using technology, we have reduced the number of characters who are diverting public funds. And if we put that project into 100%, collect traffic fines and everything digitally, we would have saved a lot. And then, of course, we start now asking, how are we spending this money? And that's a conversation we must engage in. But the second and last grave matter that you've raised, and we concur entirely, is the issue of what climate change portends for Kenya. I am glad you took initiative to develop a manual and build capacity for journalists and editors to be able to transact with this very complex and quite frightening phenomena that is changing the DNA of the world. His Excellency the President has provided political and diplomatic leadership on climate change diplomacy globally, leading to the hosting of the African Climate Summit in Nairobi. And thank you very much for the support you gave. The highlight, the profiling of that summit was phenomenal, and we owe it to you, because you are the owners of the instruments of visibility. Climate change and corruption today are national security threats. I have just left the Interior Ministry. The traditional threats of terrorism, organized crime like banditry and so forth, and trafficking in persons will continue to be there in the foreseeable future. But Additionally, in our national security priority list, corruption, because of the effect it has on economies and sustainability of the nation, and climate change are part of the national security matrix. And when I mean national security, I mean existential and survival aspects of our country. The DNA of the world, including Kenya, is changing because of very, very, very hostile and brutal effects of climate change. Severe droughts, severe floods, a displacement of populations and communities, resource conflicts, everything in between, even diseases. And therefore, good people, you are leading the way in integrating your profession to the science of climate change, and that is very commendable. And this country applauds you for what you've done. And really, if anybody had a doubt that the Kenyan media is a trailblazer and a thought leader for the region, and I dare say, we also compare very well even in the world. The kind of things Kenyan media does are not in so many democracies, as much as we have problems. In fact, the reason why the challenges we have get highlighted and we get angry when infractions are committed is because our country allows the visibility of those infractions, and we have a very good media, a very good constitution, and I think we should all struggle to fit into the very, very, very good example that you provided so that other sectors can follow suit. Those are my remarks for today. I wish you all the best. I hope you said you're giving me the book or something. That would be good. And thank you for inviting me for the park thing, the park and dinner something, the game drive. I really wish. I'm actually tempted to take the offer. So I wanted to ask, don't clap too soon. I wanted to ask whether it is in order as a mitigating factor, now that I'm not able to take the offer, whether a dinner tonight at the park can be on me. So, Madam Bray, as many of that opinion say aye, the ayes have it. So there are no contrary views. I really wish you all the best. It's a beautiful county. DG, tell the governor we are happy that they are hosting us. You're hosting us here. We wish you well. Our guests and friends of Kenya, the Chinese government representative, the British government representative, the partners who have supported our media to grow in leaps and bounds, asanteni sana. Na mimi tunaomba tu tujaribu tu kuelewana kama Wakenya, mahali matatizo yako tuyatatue. Ofisi ya Rais, ofisi zote za serikali ziko wazi, na you're free to contact us, even directly, on what you think we need to do. So we need to look, Margaret, you need to agree with this team. You need to agree with these colleagues on what they want. I heard them say there are things that they have challenges with in our proposals. Don't allow those proposals to go very far without having a sit down and canvassing some of these issues. We might as well find out that the issues are valid, and I suspect they are, and we should not be able to push through something that will hurt our colleagues in the media industry. So take it up, but I'm also taking up the other issues on the pending bills, on the board, and we'll work with you to make sure that when these friends invite us next year, they will not put us on the spot. Mungu awabariki, asanteni sana.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We kindly request you to remain on the podium as I invite the President, Cake, to present the book to you. The President, the book is being handed over to you, then you present it to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Let's appreciate her as she is handing over the book. Your Excellency, we still ask you to remain on the podium kindly as the President, joined by the Vice President, are going to gift you. They have Let's appreciate His Excellency the Deputy President and the team of KEC for presenting this gift to the Deputy President. With all humility, once again, the Deputy President, we humbly request you that you remain on the podium as we invite the team of executive commissions, executive members to join, executive committee. We have the partners also to join for a photo session, just a group photo. Kindly let's move to the podium. Partners as well. We have the representative of China and UK. Kindly also join, so that we have one group photo for this ceremony, a memory that will go down the line for the 7th KEC convention held here in